What's going on, everybody? Johnny TCG back with another video. I am happy to see you. Today I've got another OP07 Bonney deck listing gameplay vid for you. I'm not going to do a big in-depth deck list breakdown. One, because I did another one a couple days ago. Go check that out on my channel. If you enjoyed the Bonney Leader, you will definitely enjoy that video. And two, because you've seen the Bonney deck plenty of times by now. You know how it works. You know the expected builds and whatnot. Before we go right into the gameplay and the games I got for you, which are really fun today, I want to show off this custom leader I made. All you have to do to win it is just leave a like and a comment. And if this video gets 25 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll send this custom leader with art from the One Piece Treasure Cruise game to someone in the US completely free. I'll just choose someone randomly. I do not own this artwork. I'm not selling this. This isn't any profit. It's just a fun little giveaway I do. I'm still learning how to make them, so the production isn't 100% perfect. But if you are interested in a free custom Bonney leader that I'm showing on screen right now, leave a like and a comment. I'm done yapping. Let's get to the video. First game up we have against Gecko Moria. They choose the turn order, and I am going to be going second. I mulligan my first hand, and this second hand is pretty good, I'd say. They play the Sindri, turn one to mill some cards, and I am just going to go with the Jewelry Bonney search on my first turn. I'm going to take the Cavendish, absolutely amazing card in this deck. If you've been paying attention to TCG Player, the price of that Cavendish has gone up like crazy recently. They're going to start their turn by swinging 6 into Bonney, and then using leader ability to play out a Sindri, which I find really interesting. I'm interested in why maybe they did that when they could have brought back the Absalom. I guess saving it for later, but a Sindri doesn't do much for you on the board right now. I play out the Arouge and pass the turn. They're going to swing 7, use leader ability again. I am going to take this hit, rest the Dr. Hogback that they just played out, and I'll take the hit. I get the 2-cost Rosinante. I'll take that. And then they play out another Sindri. If we were doing a drinking game for every Sindri they played on the field, you'd be 3 shots deep right now. I'm going to start my turn by going 6 into the Hogback, and I'm happy they let me have it. Then I'm going to play Cavendish, and now that I have 2 Dawn restood, I am going to play Baby 5 Searcher. I can go between 10-drop Dofi, 8-drop Rosinante, and the Baby 5 2K. I go with the 10-drop Doflamingo, but I don't think the 2K counter would have been a bad idea either. And now I'm just going to swing 5 with the Arouge because they've got no defense, and I'm not worried about them swinging. If they want to don up on a Sindri and swing that way, then be my guest. They're going to go 6 into the Arouge. Using leader ability, they are going to play out the Perona. I am going to use my leader ability to rest the Perona. I'll be able to swing back into that, which would be nice. And I trash my extra Hody Jones from hand. And I do want to save this Arouge just because it'll be so helpful if I can keep it on the board and using its end of turn ability. Then they're going to go 2,000 into my Baby 5 with this injury. And now with 4 down left up, we see a Rebecca, the 4-drop from OP07. They're going to take a Hina back from their trash and then play out that Hina as just a body rested. We've got 8 Dawn to work with this turn. We've got a couple different options. My first intuition was to go with the 8-cost Eustace Captain Kidd play and play out the Rosinante as well. But I also like the idea of going 8-cost Rosinante into Jewelry Bonney and freeze one of their characters or Dawn. I'm going to go with the Rosinante, playing out the Bonney, freezing the Perona. The Dawn wouldn't be bad either, but I think I'd rather just get freeze the Perona right now. And then I'm going to swing 6 into the Hina. That might give me a block out of this. They don't. They just let it go. And I've still got 2 Dawn up. I don't think swinging with a Rouge would be the worst idea. I don't think playing out Rosinante would be the worst idea either. I'm just gonna swing into the. Should I swing into the Perona or Life? I think I should go Life. Yep, 7,000 into Life. They give me that. They were down to 2 life already. If you know in the comments, let me know, what is this matchup favorability wise? Is it typical that the Bonney is favored, or is it typical that Gecko is favored, or is it 50-50? They're going to start out by playing Hina, and then the 6-cost Sakazuki from OP02 to get rid of my Don Quixote Rosinante, and then they're going to swing 5,000 in a Rouge. I do not want to let that die, so I will give them the Rosinante 2-cost blocker. Here, I can even go for game. My first inkling is to not go for game and just play conservatively, but I definitely think that with the right math, I could go for game. I swing 6 just to test their hand a little bit, see if they will give me that life or if they're going to block out of it, and they do give me the 2K. I decide to play it a little bit safe and just go Doflamingo and freeze their Rebecca, their Perona, and their Leader. Then I'm going to swing 6 with my Cavendish to restand 2 Don. That life will hit. I can go 7 with my Leader. They will counter out of this. And I can swing with a Rouge. I do this. It's a little cheeky. Definitely not necessary, but I was not in danger of dying that next turn, and I don't think they would have been able to get rid of all of my bodies, so might as well. Next up, we got a game against Blue and Yellow Ace from Starter Deck 13. I get to choose the turn order, and I am going to go second. My hand is pretty solid. I've got a good turn 1 play with the Baby 5 Searcher. I don't have a clear turn 2 play yet, but I do have the option of Cavendish or Bonney, or now even Basil Hawkins on my 3rd turn. Searching with Baby 5, I am going to find... Only thing I can take is a 10-cost Dofi. I didn't need it, but it is what it is. So, I'll take it, and then that's my turn. Just gotta pass. I'm not super familiar with OP07 blue-yellow ace list, so this will be an interesting game. They'll swing and get rid of my Baby 5, and then play the Sanji's Pilaf to draw 2 cards. I decide that maybe I should just swing for with 3 Don and play down the Baby 5 and keep it for later, because there will be a turn where maybe I will need it. Now, this is a card I don't play out 99% of the time, and maybe I'm being a little crazy, but this is good testing, good practice. There might be a time where I want it, especially when I next turn might play Basil Hawkins, and that'll use up all my Don, and depending on if they have a character on the field or not, I might want to be able to use my Leader ability. They're going to use their Leader ability, giving 2 Don to their Leader, and putting the blue ace from OP07 to the top of their life. They're going to swing 7 at me, and I'm just going to eat that. And now they're going to play the Viola, which flips the ace face down, and so now it just stays at their life. It would be a good idea to get that off of their life so that they can't play down the baby ace and summon it that way. I decide to go with Cavendish this turn, and then I am going to swing big with the Bonney. I should have kept 1 Don up and only swung for 7, but I'll swing for 8, trying to get that Portgas D-Ace out of life. They're actually going to give me 2 2Ks, which I was surprised about so early on in the game, but I'll take it. They're going to use Leader ability. Let's see if they find anything off the top of their deck. They've got the Monkey D. Luffy from Starter Deck 13. They're going to play out the Kid Luffy and then summon Luffy out of life. Then use Sanji's Peel Off to draw more cards, and then they're going to swing big at me. I'm just going to take this. I really should probably get a blocker on the board right now. Future Johnny jumping into the video, interrupting to redo some of this commentary. I top deck the Hody Jones, and I'm going to play it to rest the Monkey D. Luffy and the Viola. This turn has a couple misplays. I should have swung with the Baby 5 into the Viola. That was misplay number 1. Instead, I swung 5 with Bonney into it. My next misplay is I'm going to swing with Hody Jones into the Monkey D. Luffy next. Tell me why I did not swing with my Cavendish first and restand to Dawn. If I did that and they countered out, I could have swung big with Hody into the Monkey D. Luffy, which I don't think they would have won a countered out of all that. Instead, I'm going to swing 7 with Cavendish, which is not ideal because now I'm going to have 2 Dawn left over, and if this Monkey D. Luffy survives, I'm going to feel like a fool. Please put a F in the chat for me for making this silly misplay. I do end up KOing the Monkey D. Luffy, though, and so I'm just going to throw out the Bonney. I don't really need to have that extra Dawn up. I do it just in case they want to summon something and then attack. I don't end up searching with the Bonney Searcher. I can do that next turn and then get the cost of that reimbursed by my Cavendish's swing. They're going to play Hiyori to take the top of their life without even using leader ability, and then they're just going to swing big at the Cavendish. I hope I can get out of this hit. I'm going to use leader ability to rest the Hiyori, and then I do think I have enough. It does not feel good, the amount of cards I'm about to give up to save this Cavendish, but Cavendish is really such a game changer, especially next turn. If I want to drop 10 cost Dofi, I can then use Cavendish to get a couple down back up and keep my leader's effect as active. Gonna swing 1,000 in the Hiyori. They give it to me, of course. I'm debating between the 10 cost Doflamingo and the 8 cost Eustace Captain Kidd. I do go with the Doflamingo. I'm now going to swing 6 into life with Cavendish. They'll take that. They do get the Monkey D. Luffy trigger. This is what they put on the top of their life with Hiyori, and so the Bonney is KO'd. That's not a big deal at all. Debating on whether or not I should give, how much down I should give to my leader. I decide not to give any down to my leader and just swing for 5. Then I've got a chance to swing with Hody, and then I will decide if I want to leave up down for leader ability or if I want to play out the Rosinante just to kind of protect some of my bodies. I definitely feel like I've got good pressure on them right now, so I don't want to ease up. I debate on whether or not to use Baby 5's ability, and I decide to use it to give myself even more kind of safety, but I don't think it really is going to matter too much. Their leader can't even swing, so they may have a rush card that they can use, but I guess it was kind of pointless. They Gum Red Rock the Doflamingo away. It is not the end of the world. And then they put 5 cost Rush Ace onto their life using leader ability, and then Viola it face down. I'm just going to start out with a 5,000 power swing with leader. I have a couple different ways I can play this turn. I've got 10 cost Dofi in hand, which of course is always a good timed card. I've got a Basil Hawkins, which would be great protection, and then I've also got the Eustace Kid 8 cost that I can use. I decided to go with the 10 drop Dofi, just not let him leader swing again, and then I will swing 6 with the Cavendish in the lead, restanding 2 of my Don. I could have done that. I could have ordered it different, but I was not sure until the very last moment I was going to be playing the 10 cost Doflamingo. They get the Satori trigger, no big deal. Actually, a little bit of a big deal. Not really. But hypothetically, if their leader wasn't frozen, it would not be a great situation right now. We could see a 10 cost ace being played right now. We do know he has the 5 cost ace in hand from life. They've got the 10 cost ace, and they just pass. I wonder if that was just because they don't want to get Doflamingo'd again, or if maybe that was a misclick. Either way, this game is very much in my favor. I'm going to go 7 in the lead with Bonney Leader. They get the 3,000 Swords trigger, which bottom decks my blocker. So I'll swing 8,000 with Hody Jones. They're going to take this and get the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger trigger to get rid of my Cavendish. 2 amazing triggers in a row for them, but it won't be enough. I'm just going to don up on my 10 cost Dofi and swing big. And that's games. GG's. Next up, we got a game against the other brother, Red and Yellow Sabo from Starter Deck 13. My opponent chooses turn order. I get to go second. I am going to play out the Jewelry Bonnie Searcher, and I debate between Basil Hawkins and Jewelry Bonnie. I decide to go with Jewelry Bonnie because 1, I already have a Basil Hawkins, and 2, it does have some counter, which I might need. Red Yellow Sabos can be really aggro, and I am a little nervous about that. They swing first to get rid of my Bonnie Searcher, and now they're going to play down the 3 cost Rush Zora to swing at lead, and I'll take that hit, getting a Basil Hawkins from life. I really don't want them to be able to cycle this Zoro back into life every turn, and so I'm going to swing 8,000 at it, hoping that they just let me have it. They do. And now I'm going to play Bonnie for 1 Don and not search with her because I'm all out of Don. They'll start out with 5,000 swing at my life. I take it. A Basil Hawkins, not what you want to see. And now they're going to play the 5 cost Starter Deck 1 Luffy Rush. And I'll take that hit as well. I'm just eating these attacks early. I'm trying to build up a hand, and I just don't feel like countering out right now. I really want to get this Monkey D. Luffy off the board. If you didn't think I was serious enough about getting the Zoro off the board, I am way more serious about getting this Luffy off the board, just because if I can't, it is going to be a nightmare if they can just recycle it into their life, and then I feel like I won't want to hit them, because I don't want it back in their hand. I'll do a Bonnie search first and get the Cavendish. I'm debating on how much I want to put onto my leader. My mouse kind of gets a little screwy. I'm on a different computer than usual. And I am just going to go big on it. I'm going to swing 8,000, meaning they have to give me at least 2 cards, which they do. I was not counting on them to have the 3K or be so willing to give out 3K of counter. I leave 2 Don open. If that Luffy did die, I was going to play out the Rosinante 2 cost blocker, but since it didn't, I'm going to leave my Don open for leader ability. They're going to swing 8 with Rush Luffy. I am going to take this, rest his leader, and then they are going to play out the Nekomamushi. They don't put the Luffy into their life. I'm wondering if that was intentional or a misplay. And this time, for real, I need to get rid of that Luffy, so I'm going to swing big. They let it go, and now I've got the 4 Don open for an Arouge play. Using his ability, I get to restand 1 Don, and I'm feeling a little bit better. That Nekomamushi will be annoying, though, as they'll be able to put that on top of life, and every time I hit into it, they'll be able to trigger it. And I'm already down to 1 life card, and they are at 4, which is not a good feeling. They're going to swing 9,000 into a Rouge. Now, normally I would never give up so much counter, especially for such a lowly character. But having a Rouge on the field is crucial to my game plan. It'll make the rest of the game way easier for me. So I am going to see if I have enough counter for it. All my turns, it gives you so much more freedom with your turns and down usage when you know that at the end of your turn, a Rouge will restand one of your Don. So I am going to give him a ton of cards out of my hand to be able to keep this Rouge alive. $5,000 worth of counter. My opponent's probably like, what the heck? They decide to go Kurasu and then put the Nekomamushi to the top of their life. I've got a couple different options here. I do like Cavendish into Basil Hawkins. I also like the Eustace Captain Kid play. I've got a couple different routes. At this point, I do understand that I kind of have to starve them a little bit. I don't want to just let them keep triggering bodies. So I'm just going to slow down my pressure and wait till I can establish a big board and then just go all in on them. The bad news is that depending on what's in their hand, they may just be able to keep putting bodies onto their life, and so I'll never be able to whittle that down. This turn, they just go Nekomamushi and Frankie. They don't swing with either of their characters. They might be expecting 10-drop Dofi, which fair enough, because that is something I could have played. I don't agree with not swinging at all, or maybe that is the right play. I don't know. You tell me in the comments down below. I'm going to use 8-drop Eustace Captain Kid and play out the Rosinante. I probably should have... If I would have swung with Cavendish, I would have been able to restood Don and then swung and searched with Bonney. But I don't want to swing this very moment, and so that's why I didn't swing. They're going to give 1 Don to their leader. They're about to get into some shenanigans. They koala my Eustace Captain Kid to give him minus 3,000 power. Now he's at 5,000 power. That was not what I was expecting. Kurasu's going to swing 7,000 at Kid, but then give minus 1,000 to Basil Hawkins. Now I'm still able to block and counter out of this hit with Basil. I ended up doing the math wrong, so I over-countered by 1,000. You hate to see it. But I still have the Rosinante blocker and the Rouge blocker if I really need it. Luckily, I've got a 2K in hand still. Mouse troubles yet again. And now they play out the Rush Luffy that unfortunately I can't deal with. So I've got to let the Rosinante die. They're going to put Kurasu on the top of their life, swing 7 with Frankie, and I am going to Rouge block this. Not ideal, but now I am in the perfect place for a Don Quixote do Flamingo 10-drop play. First, I'll swing at their board a little bit, see if they'll give me any counter. Sequencing can be important here as I need to play something before I swing with my Cavendish. And so normally I'd swing before I play something, but when I play Bonney, I often need to play the whatever I'm thinking out before I swing with Cavendish. Now I'm going to go 6,000 with Cavendish into Rush Luffy. I'm happy that they gave that to me. I'm debating on whether or not to swing with Eustace Captain Kid because I could use his ability as well and then play out the Rosinante blocker, really solidifying my defense. I decide to swing with Basil Hawkins instead. Let's see if they got any counter for me. They don't. And so instead of swinging into life here, I will just play out the 2-cost Resonante blocker. If they don't have some big rush character in hand, they might just have to don up on Koala this turn. The board versus life versus hand comparison is absolutely crazy right now. They've got a basically empty board. I've got a full board. I've got a basically empty life. They've got a ton of life cards. They're going to swing 13 with Koala, and I'm just going to block with Resonante. I'm going to start my turn with just a 5,000 swing and a Koala. I need to kind of be careful here about how I swing into their leader because I need to be conscious of triggers. I've got another Basil Hawkins that I can play. With the 8-drop Eustace Captain Kidd, I am in going to be pretty good shape because even if they're going to have to just deal with that first. And I don't even bother swinging with the Cavendish. I'm nervous about what the rest of their life holds, which maybe I'm a little just overly nervous, but I do not want to end up with a bunch of characters triggered out that I have to deal with. This Hody Jones could be interesting because when they play the Nekomamushi, I could rest it with Hody and then swing into it. Now, granted, that would make me have to take a life, which I do not want to go down to 0 life against a deck that runs 5-cost Rush Luffy with 2 Dawn, making it unblockable. I have to be a little bit aggressive now, though, because it's now or never. I need to swing into their body eventually. They're getting a ton of cards. I debate on whether or not to play another Basil or the Hody Jones, but I decide just to do the Basil Hawkins, another blocker. And then I'll swing 6 again, holding my breath every time I swing. There are definitely, of course, better ways to kind of allocated my Dawn on these swings, but I was also kind of hoping to maybe I was hoping to either take cards from hand and not exactly sure what I wanted to do with my turn. They're going to go 9,000 into Eustace Captain Kidd, and luckily I have a 2K, so I don't have to use any of my blockers on that. Then they just have 5 Dawn left open. They can use the Kidding Killer, power it up by putting Nekomamushi back onto the top of their life, and now they're going to swing 10k into the Kidd. I can't deal with that, so I'm just going to block with Basil. Now, I can go for game here. I am still a little hesitant, though. I feel like I should just get rid of this Kidding Killer first. They give it to me, and I'm thinking about maybe swinging just for 5 at their leader, because I assume that they want that trigger to come out. They end up blocking it, which is interesting. I'm going to swing 8 with Kin now. They take the Nekomamushi hit and play it out. Now I need to be very careful. I decide to play out the Hody Jones, despite my knowing better. I'm being a little bit risky here. I am going to rest the Nekomamushi. I'm going to set up one Don on my Eustace Captain Kidd as an insurance policy, basically, so that next turn I'm feeling a little bit safer. And then I'm just going to swing 8 into the Aneka with Hody Jones. And now this is a little risky. I'm going to swing 7 into their leader. I could have swung 8, but I'm just kind of keeping my Don open. With a Eustace Captain Kidd, 1 blocker in Basil Hawkins, and then Don open to use my leader ability, I should be fine here. And they just concede. GG. They did have a trigger as their last card in life, which would have been interesting. They had another Kidding Killer, and they did have a Monkey D. Dragon. If I would have swung into life, they trigger that card out. It would have been a little sketchy. I don't think it would have been GG's, but it certainly would have been awkward. So, GG's though. Those are all the games I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed them. Don't forget, if you want to win the custom Bonney Leader, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. I have been loving putting content out for you people, and I am happy to see people enjoy it. And that's all I got for you today. Get the heck out of my house.